Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. This morning I'm looking at a book which has come to us from the Child Poverty Action Group. It's one of their handbook series of guides. They are first-class guides for people at a very reasonable cost. This particular one is called Benefits for Migrants Handbook, now in a 7th edition from CPAG. And Elizabeth and I have looked at this book. We had a talk about it. And we've given it a title for our review, which should be in the journals and on the web, as follows: A comprehensive source of information and guidance for migrants and their advisors. And as I've indicated, it's a first-class book, again, very much in keeping with the style that CPAG have adopted. It's a huge amount of information. And let's have a look at the book first of all, before I go through the review. It's now in the 7th edition, there it is, basically for 2015 to 16. There's the front, the spine, and then the back. You've got the nice shaded area for most of the book there, and then at the back you've got all of the various appendices there. Let me just work backwards because it's probably easier. There is the index. Then, as I say, you can see from the non-shaded area, that's all the appendices, the short number of appendices at the back. Things like abbreviations in Appendix 7. Let's go to the front of the book. Been written by a number of people who are mentioned there. I mentioned their names: Rebecca Walker, Timothy Lawrence and Michael Spencer. They're mentioned again there. And then you've got acknowledgements and then the detailed contents section there. And it is important with this book to go through and look at the very first page, which there are some abbreviations for you, which actually says how to use this book. And then there's a little checklist and it runs through from there. And then when you look at the main part of the book, you've got quite a lot of notes at the end of each of the chapters, which assists. The chapters have got a nice number at the top, so it's easy to find. You have the notes to go with everything that's in the chapter at the back of the chapter. And then again you have a statement about what the chapter covers right at the beginning, and then it runs through into it. For instance, chapter 9 is on asylum seekers and refugees, so it says exactly what the book is about. And you can see from that, again, just going into chapter 19, again you can see the huge number of notes which are there. And evidence, again, very important. You have to produce evidence to show what you're putting forward. And for instance, passport stamps and other endorsements, again, very useful because this gives you a lot of information which I'm sure everybody involved in this area will find very helpful. Copies of this book should be available in public libraries and from the Citizens Advice Bureau. This is what we say about the book anyway. UK immigration and benefit rules are nothing if not complex and complicated. Unless, of course, you have a copy of this well-established and high-regarded CPAG guide, which is now available in its new 7th edition. Whether you are, say, an immigration lawyer or an immigrant yourself in search of correct, reliable information, this handy paperback volume decomplicates the complicated maze of legislation surrounding the benefits and entitlements available to migrants to the United Kingdom. It's been published, as I've indicated, by the Child Poverty Action Group, and it's applicable to, and here's the list of people and organisations: the European Economic Area nationals, asylum seekers and refugees, families with differing immigration status, British citizens returning from abroad, and other migrants who need specific information on immigration and benefit rules, including advice on social security and tax credits. Again, a lot of detail here, which is extremely helpful. It's important to note that this is not a complete guide, of course, to benefit rates and rules. Ideally, it should be used together with the Child Poverty Action Group's Welfare Benefits and Tax Credits Handbook. And as I've indicated, these handbooks are of great importance, I think, today in trying to give people the information they need concerning any problems that they have. And it's with an established reputation for reliability, accuracy and plain speaking that both handbooks reflect the aims of these Child Poverty Action Group, which are to promote and relieve poverty among children and families with children, which includes enabling those eligible for income maintenance to have access to their full entitlement. And I think that's important to bear in mind, because this is not about anything other than making sure that if you are eligible for something, once you've understood how the rules and the system operates, the actual eligibility should kick in, and you should be entitled to what is available to you under the schemes. And I think that's something that must be stressed. This new 7th edition of the Benefits for Migrants Handbook incorporates the new and significant social security benefits available to asylum seekers, whether or not they have a right to reside. As explained in the very useful and succinct first chapter, which is very important to read, the handbook deals with the practical problems likely to be faced by migrants. Basically tells you how to use the book. Speaking directly to you as a migrant, it's designed to help you check the rules that affect you individually and assist you in finding the relevant law, plus additional advice. Part 2 then goes on to give you an overview of immigration law, aimed at helping you understand the various immigration terms mentioned throughout the book and assisting you in assessing your immigration status. What is remarkable about the book is that it does cut through the maze of legislation, which is frankly interminable and incredibly difficult to follow. I just wish they would simplify it. They won't, but the plea is there again. It's presented in a well-organised and accessible way here, and we thank you very much. We can't do our work without having this type of publication, especially when they insist on making it even more complex. They haven't ever thought about making it simple, but that's for another day. The term user-friendly then is certainly applicable here with the CPAG publications. Whether you're a professional advisor to migrants or a migrant yourself then, this book is an indispensable source of guidance and advice, and the law covered in the book is to be cited as correct as at the 1st of July 2015 and includes regulations laid and judgments delivered up to that date. I'm recording this at the end of 2015. This is the book again, quick look at it, spine and then the back. Remember the shaded area, which is the bulk of the chapters, just opening it in the middle. Who has a right to reside? A lot of notes there. That's for the end of that chapter. Then again you see a lot of notes there. A lot of information and reference material, case law, so forth. Residence and precedents, rules for individual benefits. Again, you've got what the chapter covers there, and then it goes into it in a nice detail. Sometimes the actual chapters are numbered. There's no great, there are no footnotes or anything, because the notes are actually at the back. For instance, these are delays in getting paid, and then notes again concerning that. If I go to the front of the book again, remember the editors are there, mentioned there, and you've also got acknowledgements about who's helped, and also the contents section. As I've said before, do go straight away to the actual first chapter, how to use the book, so you'll understand what to do. Thank you so much to everybody for producing this. It's an important work, I believe, and we can't do our job without this sort of publication. So thank you once again for the contribution you make to making this area a little bit more understandable to us as practitioners and advisors. Bye-bye.